Hey Tom.
Hello.
I'm going to have you select a card. I'm going to deal cards down in packets to the table like this. So you just say stop whenever you wish.
Stop.
Just here?
Yeah.
Are these down or back?
Down.
Down. Okay. Would you like me to continue dealing? Are you happy where you've stopped?
No, I'm happy there.
You're happy then?
Yeah.
Okay. For the sake of fairness, take one of these.
Okay.
Okay. Remember it. I'm going to try and avoid seeing it. Show the camera, do all of that business. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to set up a trick and then we're going to go from there. I'm going to try and actually read your mind as well a little bit, okay?
Okay.
So these are going to get shuffled in. So we have some cards kind of like face up and face down. And then do you mind if I take yours back?
No.
Okay, I'm going to place this right in the middle so you can see this kind of all shuffled up condition, right? And then one last thing I'm going to do is give these a mix before anything else happens. So what I want you to do is I want you to picture your selection in a five-handed poker hand, okay? The reason that I'm going to do this is because it allows me to kind of read maybe what people would ordinarily do. I'm going to ask a few questions, okay? And hopefully from there I can just basically discern what your card is, okay? So, first thing, have you got a poker hand?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So, this might be a guess, but is it amongst, is it 5 black cards that you're picturing? It is, okay, good, okay, cool. And is your card right in the middle?
Yeah.
Right in the middle of that hand, okay.
Not,
I think,
yeah, not like right in the middle. But
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, I think that's all I need.
Okay.
If I know what your card is, I can actually just do this, which is every single card will now turn the other way around except for one card.
Oh, so good.
I'll place that there. What was your card?
Queen of Spades.
Queen of Spades. Have a look at exactly what that card is.
Queen of Spades.
Queen of Spades.
There it is.
There we go. However, you were actually picturing a poker hand, right? What was the poker hand that you were picturing?
Royal Flush.
The Royal Flush. So just for the sake of everybody, a Royal Flush is an ace through 10 in the same suit. So it'd be an ace of spades, a king of spades, your queen of spades, a jack of spades, and a 10 of spades.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh. Very good, mate. Look at that.
An ace, a king, a jack, and a 10, your queen in the middle. That's it, there you go. Before we get into any explanation, it's important to understand where this effect came from. What inspirations are behind this effect? There are 3 sources I'd like to credit. Number 1 is Barry Richardson's Impromptu ACAN. Number 2 is Danny Ortiz's Open Triumph. And number 3 is Jerry Sadowitz's Psychological Triumph. All 3 of these have been instrumental in the kind of development of this trick, and without the principles that are contained in those sources, I wouldn't have been able to come up with this effect. So let's get into the explanation, and I'll point out exactly when those principles occur so that you can kind of be better informed. But I do also really kind of encourage you to seek out those sources and learn them for yourselves. But let's get into the explanation. The first thing that you're going to need to know in order to perform this effect is the setup, which is a royal flush with an ace on the face in descending order. You place this setup on the bottom of the deck, but still face up. So this is exactly what it looks like. What I tend to do when I'm performing this is I tend to do a few subtle things to try and get away from the fact that we're using a setup. So I'll do maybe a riffle shuffle on the table where I ensure that I don't reveal the bottom stock. I might do a couple of bottom stock controls, or maybe some in the hand stock controls, just to ensure that people don't think that there's even a stock in play, let alone one that is face up. I will also do a couple of spreads in the hands just to ensure that they see all backs, and that kind of idea is solidified. Once you've done that, you're ready to get into the forcing sequence. And the force is very simple. It's basically based on Barry Richardson's Impromptu ACAN. And in his ACAN, he has a way of kind of getting a thought of card selected. And then what he'll do is he'll deal down to a certain number. knowing that the selected card is a few cards away from the bottom face up. And then once he's that amount away, he'll turn over the deck and then continue dealing from that position. And then you have a card at number. This is kind of quite commonplace now. The knowledge of this type of method is quite commonplace, but it being used in a much more casual way for a force, I don't think is as obvious or hasn't been used as regularly. So the way that I approach this is I'll ask a spectator to deal down cards. I'll deal down cards for a spectator and they say stop wherever they want. Now what I'll do once they've said stop is I will try and increase the impossible conditions by making it fairer. I'll say, do you want me to deal down any more cards? And I'm spreading a load of cards over. This is going to counteract method later on. So I'm going to spread, making sure not to spread the setup at the bottom. But I'll say, do you want me to deal down any more cards? Often at this point they'll just say no, but if they say yes, you can do whatever you want at this point. And then you can say, do you want me to deal any, do you want me to take any more cards back from this place and from this packet to this one? Oftentimes they'll say no again. All you need to do is find a moment of misdirection and just turn this packet over. Now, there are a number of different ways to do this. Normally, the way that I tend to do is I tend to do some kind of gesture thing, and it often happens when I say, do you want me to take any back? And I'll gesture in front of the deck, which will allow me to just turn this packet over, and then I'll come back and grab this in biddle grip, and it should just look like I'm handing the packet from hand to hand. So at speed, it looks something like this. Do you want me to grab any more back from there? No? Okay, perfect. And then I'm done, and that's the reversal done. I actually talked through this a little bit on the effect Bonnie Tyler as well. So let's say you've now got to a point where you've found your moment of misdirection to reverse this packet over. You're now going to again try and increase the fairness, and you say, in the sake of fairness, take any one of these cards. And you're going to show as many of those face down cards as you can. I actually show all 5 in doing this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to heavily favor them taking one of the ones that are like here. So often I'll say 1, 2, or 3, which one do you want? And then I'll just gesture this one forward. And that just makes it seem as though they can only take one of these ones. And if they are going to be difficult, they're probably going to take the number 4. Basically, they cannot take this card because as soon as they take it, you're just going to end up with, of course, these face-up cards being shown. And in the sake of kind of it all feeling very free and fair, you just don't want them even approaching this card there. Another thought that I had on this, which is why the cards are set up in the way they are, this effect works best when they don't pick the ace of spades. I think it's a little bit too obvious where the effect might be heading. And so therefore, placing them in this reverse order means that they're never going to take the ace of spades, as it is the one covering this portion. When they take a card, you know exactly which card they actually take. So, for example, if they take this one, you know it's the middle one, so you know it's the Queen of Spades. If they take this top one, it's the Ten of Spades, Jack of Spades, of course, because they're in descending order, but going basically in reverse order. So this is going to come really in handy much later down the line. For the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to say that they took the Jack of Spades, and you know that it is the Jack of Spades. Now you have your setup on the bottom with the load of face-up cards, and you're going to take the packet that you dealt to the table and drop it on the top of this packet. You need to ensure that you take a break at this point. So what I tend to do is I tend to pick it up, drop it onto the front of this, leaving a big step, and then I can just take a break and square everything up, meaning that I have all of the cards that I dealt to the table that are face down above my break, and below my break I have my setup ready to go into a triumph situation, which we are going to go into next. So the spectator has taken the Jack of Spades. You have the rest of your setup face down, but the remaining packet face up, and then you've just taken the cards on the table, and you are now holding a break in between them. What you're going to do is you're going to spread through to your break, turn this packet over, and then farrow them in. And by doing this, you will see that what you create is you create a small kind of block of cards that are face up and face down, which are all the rest of your royal flush. And then the remainder of the deck is actually face up. It's this kind of a setup which is used in Danny D. Ortiz's Open Triumph and Jerry Sadowitz's Psychological Triumph, which actually predated Danny D. Ortiz one. I'm not going to place any cards on the top or bottom. I'm just going to deal with a packet at one end, and you'll see why I kind of manipulate that in a moment. But this is your basic setup. But before we get into that any further, I am going to go through a couple of subtleties when you're going into this setup. So you've got your break in between those two sections. Your setup, which is on the face. Let me just get into. Yep, that's fine. You're going to spread through, and what I tend to do, without exposing any of these face-up cards on the bottom, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread, but I'm going to spread the next few cards over so that I'm like this, and I'm going to pick up at where my break used to be. I think picking up in the middle of the spread, instead of just picking up basically directly from a break, does make it seem as though there's no setup in play. And you're going to do this as, after they've seen this card and they've shown it around, and you've now got their attention again. So now you're going to go into this faro. It's not even a faro, you're just literally pushing the cards into the deck, and then you're just going to square everything up. After you've done this, you're going to spread the first few cards and say that obviously we've got this mixed condition. Do you mind if I take yours back? You're going to place it in slightly side jogged, and then you're going to do a final display. The display is very easy and simple, and all you're going to do is you're going to hold it as if you're about to do a one-handed fan, and you're just going to spread the top cards over like this. This kind of makes it seem as though there are loads of cards face up and face down and at random packets throughout the deck. But in fact, of course, what you're really showing is just this top block of interlaced cards, which is the Royal Flush, and then their selection kind of in the middle of the deck. But it just makes it seem like there's more. You can then square this up, and then you're going to go into your final subtlety, which is just shuffling single cards off the top of the deck, just like this. And then you're going to count all the face down cards as they go. And until you've got past the fourth, you're then going to drop everything else. And now you are ready to do your reveal. So this is now your reveal. You've got all of the face-up cards at the bottom of the deck now because you did the overhand shuffle, and then you have your kind of clean section with the one selection in the middle at the top of the deck. Before you do the reveal, you're now going to set up the kicker ending, this Royal Flush ending. And the way that you're going to do that is you're going to explain that you're kind of learning a skill which will allow you to read their mind, or seem as though you can read their mind. And then you're going to use that after you've found out what their card is to complete the magic trick. And the skill that you've been learning is if they place their card in amongst a poker hand, the better the poker hand that they can think of, the better, then you'll be able to guess exactly what their card is. And so by saying that, what you're doing is you're basically forcing them to think of a very good poker hand without explicitly saying, think of the best one. So yeah, the better the poker hand, the easier it is for me. So get them to think of it. And what you're then going to do is you're then going to do a check, which is going to appear like mind reading. But your check is that you're going to ask them to picture the cards in the air, picture the hand of 5 cards. And you're then going to ask them if all 5 cards are black. If they say yes, it's a good chance that they're thinking of the Royal Flush. If they say no at this point, you can say, maybe I won't get this right. And then you can just go into either a bold reveal of their card, or you can try a different method. But if they say that the card is in amongst 5 black cards, what you can then do, because you know the card that they've selected, you can then say the position it is within the Royal Flush. So for example, you could say that the card is, if it was the 10 that they took, right at the very end of the Royal Flush. If it was the Queen, you could say it's right in the middle. And this is just going to seem like you're just reading their mind outright. Once you've done that, you can then pick up the cards and go into your reveal, saying that you've completed. If I now know what your card is, and it should be relatively easy, have a look. All of the cards are face down, and you're just going to pick up the deck and you're going to run through slowly, showing every single card face down until you get to their card. You're then going to take it out, place it on the table, and then show the remainder of the cards, but without pressing this final packet down here. So this is the bit that you're hiding and making sure that nothing gets shown in this packet. So you've gone slow, 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 taken out their selection, which is just here. And then you're going to go all the way through without revealing any of these, so stopping around here. So this is the final image that they get, which I think is fair enough. It just feels like there's no more face up and face down cards, particularly after the displays that you've done. If you want some extra little bonus points, you could push off the last card in kind of like a block push off style, showing every single card is now face up and face down. And you can do this display as well. Once you've done this, allow them to reveal their card, and as they are revealing their card, just riffle shuffle off this portion on the bottom and then interlace it into the bigger block, displacing it further and further away, meaning that your royal flush is now displaced in the middle of the deck. Don't reveal this yet and place the cards back face down. They reveal this, they reveal their selection, all is well and good in the world, and then you say, if they were thinking of the 5 cards all being black, and you've kind of have an indication that it might be the royal flush, just ask them what their hand is. You can do this either way, but ask them what the hand they were thinking of was, and then you can say, they go, oh, it was the royal flush, in which case you go, that would be the ace, the king, the queen, your jack, and then the 10 of spades, correct? They say yes, and then you spread on the table, showing the ace, the king, the queen, and the 10 that they are missing. If they haven't said that and they've chosen a different thing, there's a really easy out, which is just to go, okay, so you picked 4 jacks. That's really interesting. Do you know what the actual best hand that you can make with that card would be? They say the royal flush, and it still feels as though they've said the cards that are going to appear anyway. So there you go. That's the effect. I think it's one of the better effects on this membership. I've been using it for a long time, and I've kind of been hesitant to put it up, but that is the effect. And let's get into a quick overview of the actual trick itself. Let's go through a quick overview of the effect itself. Start with your setup, a royal flush in descending order. Place that on the bottom of the deck. Go into whatever casual way you want to show that there's no setup in play, and spread through the cards. Have a spectator say stop as you deal cards to the table. Reverse this packet under some kind of gesture or big bold action of misdirection, such that they can take one of these cards. When they have taken it, you know exactly what it is. So for example, if they take this one, I know it's going to be the queen because of the position that they took it from. I need to make sure that I don't accidentally show any of these. So just make sure that you only spread the top 4 cards and don't expose anything else. Once they are looking at that card and showing it around, pick the rest of the deck up and place it on top and hold a break in between those 2 bits, such that you've got a load of face down cards, face up cards, and then you're set up. Spread to your break. If you're feeling extra bold, spread a few more cards over. If not, just spread through, pick up the cards, and then set up for the triumph procedure by farrowing the cards in together. This will allow you to show the top few cards, but no more. So spread those over and then ask the spectator to hand you their card back. Place it into the side of the deck, but allow it to kind of be side jogged such that you can then spread the cards, showing multiple cards face up and face down and one kind of in the middle. It's a really lovely display. Square everything up and then do a overhand shuffle, running cards singly until you've passed your block, and then drop everything. This needs to be done very casually. It can't be like peeling off one at a time. It needs to be done kind of in a good speed like this kind of thing, just to show that just to be very, very kind of casual and quick with it, or otherwise it can be a bit transparent what you're doing. At this point, read the spectator's mind, have them picture it in amongst a poker hand. The better the hand, the better, and the easier it is for you. They picture 5 black cards, or they don't. Just reveal whatever their card is, and then say you're able to now use that to solve the magic trick. All of the cards are face down, showing only this top portion of the deck, making sure not to show any of this bottom section. So you show like this, bring everything back together, show that that is their selection, and then shuffle off the small portion at the bottom, and then shuffle it into the deck, allowing it to be displaced in between the remainder of the deck. This means that now you can kind of wait, ask them for what hand they were thinking of, and then it's revealed in amongst the cards. That's the trick. I hope you get some use out of it. And yeah, it's a real killer, particularly for lay people, but I've fooled a load of magicians with this as well. So